You've probably noticed something that feels completely backwards in your relationships with women. Just when you think you're getting closer, just when the connection feels deep and unshakable, she starts pulling away. It's confusing, it's frustrating, and if you don't understand what's really happening, you'll start chasing harder, begging for her attention, and losing the very power that attracted her to you in the first place. Today, I'm going to break this down for you. We're going to talk about the hidden psychology behind why a woman pushes you away when she actually wants you the most. And trust me, this is going to be a wake-up call. If you're serious about understanding women, about protecting your masculinity, and about not losing yourself in the process, stay with me until the very end. This conversation could save you from years of heartbreak. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is where we get real about male self-respect, female psychology, and building yourself into a man who doesn't just survive in relationships, he thrives. If you want raw truth, not sugarcoating, you're in the right place. And as you're listening, I want you to keep an open mind. Some of what I'll share may feel uncomfortable at first, but that's because truth always challenges the ego. Think of the Stoic philosophers. Marcus Aurelius didn't grow strong by being told what he wanted to hear. He grew strong by facing reality as it was. That's exactly what I want for you today. Let's start breaking this down, piece by piece, with the first key lesson you need to know. 1. Her fear of losing control. A woman may push you away when she wants you the most because desire is terrifying for her. Think about it. Attraction is one of the most vulnerable states a person can experience. For a woman, especially in our modern world, admitting how deeply she wants a man feels like giving up control. And control is safety. When she realizes that you have the power to affect her emotions, that you can actually touch her heart, her instinct may be to retreat, to test you, to pull away in order to regain balance. The irony? The more she pulls away, the more she's revealing just how much she feels for you. Seneca once wrote, "He who is brave is free." For a woman, giving into her desire feels like the opposite. It feels like chains. If she admits how much she wants you, she fears you'll have the power to destroy her. That's why she creates distance. The pushback is not a sign of rejection. It's a sign of how deep her feelings actually run. But here's the trap most men fall into. They interpret that pushback as a sign that they need to close the gap. They chase harder, text more, try to reassure her, or prove their worth. What does that do? It flips the script. It puts her in control. And the moment you lose control of yourself, you lose her respect. This is where masculine strength comes in. You don't collapse into her fear. You don't try to fix it. You stand still. You remain centered. Think of Marcus Aurelius writing in his Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. She is an outside event. Her push and pull, her moments of retreat, are not under your control. What is under your control? How you respond. Do you become needy? Do you panic? Or do you stand as the rock she can lean on, even when her emotions feel like a storm? Let me ask you a question that might sting a little. Are you strong enough to let a woman's fear play out without letting it control you? Or do you crumble the moment she withholds affection? Because if you can't hold the line, you'll never experience what's on the other side of her retreat, which is her surrender. Her full, genuine, feminine surrender. That only comes when you prove you won't bend under her emotional tests. Modern psychology actually backs this up. Women who feel intense attraction often experience something called approach avoidance conflict. They want closeness, but closeness triggers fear, so they push away. This doesn't mean she doesn't want you. It means she wants you so much that she feels the risk of losing herself in you. Your role as a man is not to chase her back into closeness. Your role is to show her that you can hold steady while she figures out her emotions. That steadiness is what makes her feel safe enough to stop running. So here's the truth. When she pushes you away, it's not the time to chase. It's the time to breathe, to step back, and to embody strength. That's when she starts realizing she can't shake you, because you're unshakable. And that is when attraction deepens beyond her control. 2. Her test of your foundation. When a woman pushes you away at the height of desire, she's not just protecting herself, she's testing you. She wants to know, is this man's foundation strong enough to handle me? Can he stand tall when I pull back, when I throw chaos into the mix, when I stop giving him the validation he craves? Or will he collapse and reveal that his entire sense of worth depends on my attention? This is not conscious most of the time. She's not sitting there scheming, thinking, let me test him now. It's instinctive. It's woven into her psychology, because deep down, every woman wants to know if the man she's drawn to is actually capable of leading, protecting, and holding space for her. If you can't stand firm when she retreats, then how can she trust you to stand firm when life gets difficult, when the world throws real storms your way? Epictetus taught that circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. A woman's retreat is a circumstance. How you respond reveals your true nature. If you beg, if you plead, if you start saying, "What's wrong? Why are you acting like this? Did I do something?" You're revealing weakness. You're showing her that your sense of control is fragile, that you're not grounded. But if you remain calm, if you don't overreact, if you keep living your life with purpose, she sees something rare. She sees a man with an unshakable foundation. Let me give you an example. Imagine a man who's building his career, working out, growing himself, and leading his own life with confidence. When his woman pulls away, he doesn't panic. He notices it, but he doesn't chase. He continues his mission. He remains kind, but not needy. What does that communicate? It says, I'm not dependent on you for my identity. I value you, but I do not need you to validate me. That is magnetic. That is what pulls her back, stronger than before. Now, here's the paradox. The moment you try to prove yourself to a woman, you fail the test. Masculinity is not about proving. It's about being. You don't shout, I'm strong. You demonstrate strength by your silence, by your calmness, by your unbroken focus on your path. Marcus Aurelius didn't waste his time begging anyone to see his worth. He lived it. He embodied it. And that's exactly what you must do. Here's the mind-blowing question I want you to sit with. If a woman stripped away every ounce of validation she's been giving you, would you still know who you are? Would you still walk with the same confidence, the same vision, the same inner fire? Or is your entire identity built on her approval? Because if it's the latter, she will feel it, and she will keep pushing you away until you either collapse or rebuild yourself on solid ground. When a woman tests you, she's not trying to destroy you. She's trying to see if you're real. Can you handle her passion, her chaos, her storms? Can you be the rock she can depend on, not just in good times, but in the worst times? If the answer is yes, then her pushback won't last long. She'll come back, and she'll come back harder, because she's seen that you are not like the rest. And here's the reality that most men miss. You will be tested, not once, not twice, but repeatedly. Women don't stop testing. They don't stop probing the foundation. Not because they're cruel, but because it's in their nature. And if you can't handle that truth, if you keep hoping for a relationship without tests, you'll be disappointed again and again. Strength isn't about avoiding the test. It's about knowing the test will come and smiling when it does. So when she pushes you away, remember this. It's not the end of attraction. It's the beginning of revelation. It's the moment you get to prove, not to her, but to yourself, that you are solid, that you are grounded, that you are a man with or without her. And when she sees that, her desire for you will only grow deeper. 3. Her hunger for polarity. Attraction thrives on polarity, masculine and feminine, stability and movement, logic and emotion. When that polarity is strong, the desire between a man and a woman is undeniable. But here's the paradox. The more she feels that attraction, the more she also fears losing the balance. Why? Because when her feminine energy surrenders to your masculine presence, she feels vulnerable. That vulnerability is intoxicating, but it's also terrifying. Think of it like magnetism. A magnet doesn't cling to another because it needs to. It's simply the nature of polarity. The moment you start chasing, the moment you start begging for closeness, you destroy that polarity. And when polarity dies, attraction dies with it. So when she pushes away, what she's really doing is recalibrating the energy. She's creating space to see if you'll collapse into her, or if you'll remain firm in your masculine center. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "The impediment to action advances action." What stands in the way becomes the way. Her pushback feels like an impediment, but in reality, it's the way. It's her attempt to deepen polarity. If she can push and you remain steady, then she feels safe to fall deeper into her feminine. She feels safe to let go. Here's the dangerous mistake most men make. They interpret her retreat as a loss of polarity and try to force connection. They become emotional, reactive, even manipulative in their attempt to pull her back. And what happens? They step into the feminine role. They start mirroring her emotions instead of embodying strength. The polarity flips. And once that polarity is gone, she no longer feels attraction. She feels obligation, pity, or even disgust. So here's a question you need to ask yourself. Are you capable of holding polarity even when she resists? Can you remain grounded, playful, masculine, even when she withdraws? Or do you abandon your role and meet her in her chaos? Because polarity is not about dominance. It's about presence. It's about standing rooted in who you are, regardless of her emotional weather. Modern relationships often collapse because men forget this. They confuse equality with sameness. Yes, men and women are equal in value, but they are not the same in energy. The feminine seeks to flow, to feel, to surrender. The masculine seeks to direct, to protect, to provide stability. When those energies meet, attraction thrives. When they blur into sameness, attraction withers. So when she pushes away, remember, it's not rejection. It's her attempt to check the polarity. It's her way of saying, can you stay masculine when I go deep into my feminine storm? If you can, the bond grows. If you can't, the polarity dies. And when polarity dies, no amount of flowers, texts, or apologies will bring it back. 4. Her fear of unworthiness. Here's a truth most men never consider. Sometimes a woman pushes you away, not because of anything you've done wrong, but because she doesn't feel worthy of the depth of her own feelings. She may look at you and think, this man could change my life. He could see parts of me no one else has ever seen. But what if I'm not enough for him? What if he discovers my flaws and decides to leave? That fear of unworthiness runs deep. And when it gets triggered, the instinctive response is to retreat, to push you away before you have the chance to reject her. It's a preemptive defense mechanism. Better to create distance now than risk devastation later. And yet, the irony is that this pushback is proof of her desire. She wouldn't fear losing you if you didn't matter so much. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." For women, this is especially true when it comes to relationships. The stories she tells herself in her mind, stories of not being enough, of being abandoned, of being unworthy, can sabotage even the most powerful attraction. She may pull back, not because of you, but because of the battles inside her own head. Here's where many men destroy everything. They take her retreat personally. They think, I must have done something wrong. I must fix this. I must prove to her that she's good enough. That instinct to rescue, to reassure, feels noble, but it kills attraction. Because the moment you start convincing her of her worth, you step into the role of her savior instead of her lover. And deep down, she doesn't want a savior. She wants a man who sees her but doesn't lose himself in her storms. So how do you handle this? With empathy, but not with neediness. You acknowledge her emotions without trying to control them. You remain calm, strong, and consistent. You don't abandon her, but you also don't abandon yourself. That balance is rare, and it's exactly what draws her back. Let me hit you with a hard question. If a woman tells herself a story that she's not good enough for you, will you collapse into reassurance and begging? Or will you remain steady enough that she eventually realizes her worth by the way you treat yourself? Because here's the truth. The way you hold yourself teaches her how to hold herself. If you treat yourself like a man of value, she'll see her reflection in that. If you treat yourself like a desperate beggar, she'll only see her worst fears confirmed. Epictetus taught that man is disturbed not by things, but by the view he takes of them. When a woman pulls away out of fear of unworthiness, it's not you, it's her view of herself. Don't try to rewrite that view with words. Rewrite it with presence, with action, with consistency. That's what speaks louder than reassurance. 5. Her instinct to preserve mystery. Here's something you need to understand. Mystery fuels desire. In the beginning, when a woman feels that fire for you, she doesn't want it to burn out too quickly. She knows that too much closeness, too much intensity can kill the very attraction that makes her heart race. So what does she do? She creates space. She pulls back. She withholds. Not because she doesn't want you, but because she wants the mystery to last. Think of it like a flame. If you smother a flame with too much fuel all at once, it dies. But if you feed it slowly, steadily, it grows. Women instinctively understand this. They don't want the fire to burn out before it has the chance to become something deeper. So they push away, not as rejection, but as preservation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." Relationships are not just about constant harmony. They're about tension, push and pull, space and closeness. That tension is what keeps attraction alive. Without it, relationships become stale. That's why she sometimes retreats. She's protecting the dance, preserving the mystery, keeping the flame alive. But here's where you can destroy it, by demanding constant closeness, by insisting on always knowing where she is, what she's thinking, how she's feeling. That obsession with transparency feels safe to you, but it kills desire for her. Why? Because mystery is oxygen to attraction. Let me challenge your perspective with a tough question. Do you value certainty more than desire? Because if you do, you'll keep demanding clarity, and in the process, you'll suffocate the very mystery that makes her crave you. True masculinity doesn't demand constant answers. It embraces uncertainty. It enjoys the chase. It thrives in the unknown. Modern culture teaches men to be overly communicative, to wear their hearts on their sleeves at all times, to expect the same from women. But attraction doesn't work like that. Attraction thrives in mystery, in tension, in the gaps between closeness. If you can't handle that, you'll always misinterpret her retreat as rejection, instead of seeing it as her way of protecting the fire. So when she pulls away, Don't panic. Don't demand explanations. Don't chase. Lean back. Trust the rhythm. Understand that mystery is not the enemy. It's the very thing that keeps her wanting more. 6. Her need to reset the balance of power. Attraction always has a power dynamic, whether we admit it or not. When a woman feels herself falling deeply for you, she senses that you suddenly hold power over her heart. And for many women, that's terrifying. It feels like a loss of control. So what does she do? She tries to rebalance. She pulls back. She withholds. She tests. All in an effort to see if she can restore equilibrium. This doesn't mean she's manipulative. It means she's human. None of us like to feel powerless in love. But here's where you, as a man, must wake up. If you rush to give away your power in order to soothe her, you destroy the very attraction she feels. The moment you start saying, "Don't worry, I'll do anything, just don't leave," you've handed her all the control. And once she holds all the power, she loses respect. Desire dies not in the absence of love, but in the absence of respect. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Many men, in their panic, start doing and saying things that are not right or true, just to regain her closeness. They sacrifice their integrity, their boundaries, even their values, in exchange for a temporary sense of connection. And every time you do this, you teach her that you are not grounded. You are dependent. So let me ask you something hard. In your relationships, do you give away your power at the first sign of her withdrawal? Or do you trust yourself enough to hold your ground? Because here's the paradox. The less you fight for power, the more she respects you. True masculine strength isn't about dominating her. It's about refusing to be dominated by her mood swings or her fear. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. When she pulls away, the test is not about whether you can control her, it's about whether you can control yourself. Do you still live your mission? Do you still train your body, sharpen your mind, pursue your vision? Or do you throw it all aside in an attempt to win back her approval? If you choose the latter, you've lost the balance forever. Here's the truth. Women don't want a man who needs them for his sense of worth. They want a man who chooses them from a place of strength. When you can hold your power in the face of her retreat, she feels something deeper than attraction. She feels trust. And trust is the foundation of lasting desire. 7. Her subconscious desire for your leadership. Now we arrive at the final piece. When a woman pushes you away at the height of her attraction, she's also subconsciously looking for leadership. Not leadership in the sense of control or domination, but leadership in the sense of direction, stability, and presence. She wants to know, can you hold the frame when she loses hers? Can you guide the relationship without being controlling? Can you create a space where she feels safe enough to let go of her constant need to manage everything? This is why women test. This is why they retreat. Because deep down, they don't want to lead the dance. They want to know if you're strong enough to lead it. Leadership, in this sense, means you remain calm when she's emotional. You stay centered when she's chaotic. You keep moving forward on your mission, even when she's trying to pull you sideways. It's not about dragging her along. It's about walking so powerfully in your path that she feels inspired to follow. Think of Marcus Aurelius again. He led an empire, but his greatest leadership was not over armies. It was over himself. His self-mastery inspired trust. That's the kind of leadership a woman craves. She doesn't need you to control her. She needs you to control yourself, so that she feels safe enough to stop controlling everything around her. Here's the question that should shake you awake. Do you want her to follow your lead, or do you secretly want her to lead you? Because if it's the latter, If you're secretly hoping she'll carry the emotional weight of the relationship, you'll always end up chasing her validation, and she'll always end up resenting you. Leadership means you decide where the relationship is going. You decide the standards, the values, the vision. You don't wait for her to define everything. You don't collapse into her storms. You move forward, and in that movement, she finds safety. When she pushes you away, she's watching closely. Will you crumble, or will you keep leading? If you crumble, she loses trust. If you keep leading, she surrenders. Remember this: attraction isn't about words. It's about energy. If your energy is weak, no amount of talking will convince her. But if your energy is strong, steady, and directional, you won't need to say much at all. She'll feel it. And when she feels it, she won't want to push you away anymore. She'll want to follow your lead.